All right, everyone. One of the judges of the Ninth Circuit, one of the federal judges, has actually keeled over, allowing vacancy to open up for Trump to appoint someone to that position, as was Stephen Reinhardt. So we're talking Ninth Circuit, liberal individual by, maybe national standards, not exactly a conservative justice, you would say. Now, I think that it's regrettable that judges would be able to be labeled liberal or conservative or whatever. Anyway, the mere fact that people can have such wide varying disagreements on whether something does or does not conform to a constitution that was meant to be interpreted quite literally and stringently in the most expansive sense possible for liberty, generally speaking, the fact that you can actually have a total opinion, not based necessarily on any reality, being several centuries removed from the origin being spoken of, has become a problem within society. I think possibly the greatest risk here would be maybe another federal judge in the Ninth Circuit drops dead, and all of a sudden, a bunch of conservatives, a bunch of evangelocons are running the show in an area, creating a bunch of social alienation. I would say someone who's a centrist, so-called, should be put in that position. It'd be better than the alternative, which is either alienate, the West Coast further, which I'm telling you, there is a social danger to the amount of alienation going on right now. Most of the people on the left that feel socially alienated, they feel like left out, they feel like the government is going in a problematic direction. Most of their concerns from a more unbiased perspective are bullshit. Trump is not Hitler. The government has not become fascist. Although it's continuing the same totalitarian bullshit that the Obama admin delved into, which just continued Bush's bullshit, which in many cases just continued Clinton's bullshit. It's been quite a time, and it's bipartisan in nature. While their claims are largely false, if you take a group of people at Pink Hat State 101, which would be California, and a liberal judge dies, and all of a sudden Trump comes in and appoints someone who actually is far right, by all concerns, that could be a little bit of a problem and start literal on-the-street violence. So I would warn him not to do that. Likewise, I would say it is a good thing that someone who is on the left has been removed from the Ninth Circuit, allowing a little bit of balance there. The Ninth Circuit is guilty of obstructing, at this point, the proper function of our government. It is clear. It is a clear constitutional power for Donald Trump. For example, to say in the interim, since DACA does not conform to other existing laws, appears to actually countermand them, that it will be, it's sort of on ice, we're going to deport people, and the executive branch is going to do what the executive branch is not only able to, but specifically tasked with doing, which is to execute existing immigration laws. The Ninth Circuit has not allowed him to do that. The Ninth Circuit over and over now has blocked all attempts through legislation to actually fix the immigration system. No other court is standing in the way of this, as far as I know. I think the Second Circuit issued one decision a while back, but largely it's been the Ninth Circuit. Largely, that's the activist court of our time. It would be like, can you imagine what the response would have been if everything Obama had wanted to do had been blocked by a right-leaning, circuit court? It would have been a little problematic. He would have come out and appealed to his fans and said, well, this is terrible. It's obstructing what we need to do as a society, and it's stopping progress, and, shame on them. My fans should, get together and hold a candlelight vigil, basically. And those people would have said, yes, absolutely. This is a wonderful thing. Obama's the Messiah. Praise Obama. If Trump were to do that, of course, it'd be a little problematic. But he has gone after the Ninth Circuit, by and large. When he does this, people say, well, he's trying to be an imperialist. He's a tyrant. He's a fascist. Presidents tend to do that when decisions are blocked by them. The difference is, of course, the Ninth Circuit has done this a disproportionate number of times in only the span of a single year, compared with all so-called activism within the courts in the last few administrations for a total of like 8 years. It's been more obstruction in a single year, or a little more than a year now, than in all of those time periods combined. At least that's how it seems from the Ninth Circuit. Virtually all meaningful proposals have been blocked or put on hold, and now they have to go before the Supreme Court. Interestingly, there was just a decision by a federal court in Massachusetts saying, Yeah, banning assault rifles, so-called, doesn't violate the Second Amendment. Well, I can't wait to see the Supreme Court weigh in on that. You see, the next judge that's likely to keel over is Ginsburg. Far-left individual, very historic, sort of Valkyrie of the left. She's what? She's pushing 90. She's obviously a little bit mentally slower than she was in the past. You can pretend that she's invulnerable. She's not. She's an little old lady, basically. She, at some point, is not going to wake up in the morning. She's simply going to have her ticker give out. When that happens, like with Stephen Reinhardt, I would recommend Trump, don't try to stack the court with someone who's like a Mike Huckabee or a Rick Santorum. Judge Napolitano, okay, maybe you could make that fit. Maybe, although they just call him a conspiracy theorist for questioning government authority a little bit too much. I remember, didn't he get kicked off of Fox after his epic rant against government power, like 5 years ago or something? He went on a red-faced rant against government spying and warmongering and things, and I think they kicked him off for a while. Now he's kind of back. I guess they had a stern talking to, so you can't have your Fox panel anymore because you got the FBI spooked or something. I can't wait to talk about the DHS naughty list, by the way. That's going to be a funny story. But I would recommend replacing anyone who's far left with someone who is at most center-right. Now, I know this isn't palatable to the sort of Trump's core fans, and this happened before. When I pointed this out, I said if there are openings, he can't go far right unless he's replacing someone who's already conservative. He's replacing Scalia. Yeah, okay, it makes sense to put someone who's a conservative on the court because, he was a conservative. That makes sense. Nobody's really pissed off by that. Although they wanted Judge, what was his name, Garland or something. They wanted that leftist judge from the Obama era, and Congress said, no, it's not happening. You got 2, you're not getting any more. You're about to leave office. Fuck you, basically. And hey, you're so convinced Hillary Clinton's going to be in there, she'll probably put someone who's even further to the left. And of course, now that's what shut up the Democrats. They were saying, okay, if Obama can't get his, Clinton gets hers, and that's a good thing. She's female. Didn't quite work out now, did it? And I bet that they wish that they had pushed the issue 10 times harder now. But you will alienate people if you attempt to replace people who are outright liberal, like a Ginsburg with someone like a Gorsuch. Not a great idea. It would cause it would be disastrous for the Republicans. It would give the Democrats a talking point is what it would do. Some people have said, no, we need to scrub these lefties out once and for all, so he should replace them with like the furthest right people. First, I don't agree with that because I'm not a conservative. Look, anyone who's going to say, oh, maybe we should revisit Roe v. Wade. Maybe if a gay marriage shouldn't be the law of the land. Maybe we should have church and state mix a little bit. Anyone who's going to make those arguments isn't going to be a judge that I find palatable anyway. On guns, I hope he goes as far right as he can on guns. I hope he can find someone who is socially permissive while also being to the right of Ted Nugent on firearms. I hope that's the sort of person he ends up appointing to the court in the wake of maybe a Ginsburg leaving. That way we can safeguard the Second Amendment while retaining elements of what I generally would call social progress that would be endangered by people who are more on the evangelical side of the right. The evangelical side aren't Trump's friends anyway. He's not an evangelical. He's like a business Democrat. He needs to go to the right on guns and money, basically, in order to get things accomplished. But with the Ninth Circuit now having an opening for him to appoint someone who isn't far left, that would be a good thing. I think it would be wonderful if he put someone who is ultimately I know Mucentra is a meme or whatever. Okay, somebody who isn't a Ted Nugent, somebody who isn't a Nancy Pelosi, somebody who is capable of actually holding dialogue with other people without calling them nasty names in the process. That would be preferable. Maybe someone who's not anti-gun. That would be a wonderful thing. That's about all. Peace out.